Nikki back here in part 2 of questions and answers about World Cup, setting at a World Cup, what goes on behind a World Cup, and talk to the setters, experience more stuff. Let's go! Studio Ashwin on IG. What's the difference between setting for males and females? To make it easy, it's usually length, so distance, and also power. Men just have more power physically, and the setting team, which you can hopefully see in the follow-up videos about the setting, they try to imagine themselves like into the positions. They have a lot of experience setting for women, females, and unfortunately we don't have a woman on the setting team right here, right now. You gotta ask the IFSC why this is not happening. I cannot tell you why, and even though it would be really interesting to see Janja starting, for example, in male category as well. Or like everyone, at least maybe they should set one World Cup at some point where categories don't matter and they just try to set up bowlers. Like some bowlers won't be happening, like jumps, but maybe they find a way how to do it like for both categories, and they should just give it a try, huh? I think we should do this at some point. Henrik with just a K. What do the setters think about pay TV for stream? So we had long evenings talking about the stream problems, and because if you have Amazon Prime, like a lot of people do, you can buy Eurosport Player for just €1 a month on top of it. I recommend you should do this because you can also watch Tour de France, Giro d'Italia, Vuelta, all the tennis matches in tournaments. Like, you should do this. Anyway, okay, it's more about like, it costs money. I know, that sucks. On the other hand, if the IFSC would use that money, at the end of the year we will hopefully know how much money they earn with it, because they have to publish their financial end of the year report. If they would improve the production quality, this would be good. I sat down yesterday 2 hours with Sigi Heinrich, the Eurosport commentator for the German audience. He's really, really psyched on doing this and doing the coverage. Problem is, it's so complicated to teach someone, and they of course rely on someone who's like a big name in the commentating field. I tried to teach him a lot. I tried to not teach, like to explain everything. I went with him through all the male finals, but then he was like, yeah, we're just doing male finals. Women's will just be recorded and like published, broadcasted any other time. So it's weird. But in general, the setters, and I agree that pay TV is the way forward. All the other stuff is pay TV. And I know impact setting, Ben, out there, you thought, or like my information was that you said the surfing league is for free. As far as I know, the surfing league belongs to a billionaire who's just like publishing it for free. It's like Red Bull belongs to a billionaire who's like also not. So if they would use the money they receive to improve the production quality, that would be nice. And I think that's what the team agreed on. So that's your answer. Jasper asked, how much freedom do setters have when it comes to creativity? Are there any rules? As far as I know, the only rules are feet not higher than 3.50 meters, no downward jumps, no health hazards. And this is a little bit like subjective. Remember Meiring, I think qualification bowlers, they set a crack and Gregor Vesonik got stuck in the crack. So sometimes they have their best in mind, and then in the end there might be some dangerous stuff. Let's put it this way, let's talk about the male finals. Let's talk about the male final round, whether you think there was something you might consider out of the box, something too different, something too odd. But these are the only rules when it comes to the creativity. And it's also about the starting position. A few years ago, you were able to tape the surface, like just a fraction, a piece, an area of the wall. So you could run onto volumes and touch the ball. Nowadays you need to put a jib in it. Then on the other hand, like you could do stuff with this jib, push yourself away, grab the screw holes. So this limits a little bit the creativity, but makes the rules a little bit more obvious, makes it look nicer, and but most of the rules are just about creativity and safety, not about creativity, and you are not allowed, or you were not allowed to use more than, I think, 14 holes. So the amount of moves is limited, I think, to 12 or whatsoever, but nothing like really out of the box. Austin Bowers on Instagram, show me the worst painful hold and the juggiest jug of the competition. Juggiest jug right here.
The worst is the no hole.
Which one? Do we have one?
Worst painful hold of the competition? Honestly, there aren't any painful holds in this competition. Also, Austin Bowers, any special testing routines? No. Setters test their own problems, then other guys go in it and it changes. But most of the times, like out of those 8 setters, at least like 5 or 6 tested all the moves, or at least tried all the moves. So, yeah, but it's still a long time just for testing and tweaking. Hungry Latvian asked me, do you want to set for World Cups? No. Felix tries climbing. How do setters get picked for the World Cups? So you need the license, as mentioned before. And I think they publish the calendar and setters can apply for it. Maybe others get chosen. I will ask.
Okay, I tried to find out, I talked to them, and the process is not as clear as you might think it might be. I thought you have to apply, or maybe they send out like a calendar where you can apply for dates, but it looks like at some point they changed the system to, okay, it's Thursday or Friday, here's a Google Sheet link, and you should reply until Monday at which dates you cannot set. But on the other hand, one of the setters here of the crew, he also is written down in the calendar that he's supposed to set in Innsbruck without that, and he didn't even know that. So short answer is like it's really chaotic process, and I cannot get a definitive answer. I'm sorry.
Maya sounds. How can setters get the level so wrong? Like in Salt Lake City or like at other competitions before. One thing I encountered here was like that there's no setter, or like not too much communication with other setters of the competitions which happened before. So the easiest thing would be like that one setter is doing all the World Cups. I know it sounds maybe a little bit boring, but that's just like rational, right? Because he or she was at each event, was testing or at least like trying all the different boulders and knows like what the level is like, or at least tries to know. Here it's really good that we have Tsukuru and Stefan. Stefan set, for example, for the European Cup a few weeks ago, so he knows at this level. Tsukuru is head setter at B-Pump in Tokyo, which is by far, like, I think the hardest gym in the world with the biggest density of climbers, or like the biggest density of high-level climbers. And but that leads over to your next question, Maya. How bad is condition / weather impact really on setting quality? The weather can have like a huge impact. Today it's cold. 2 days ago it was cold. When it was warm, it was like up to 30 degrees, scorching, burning underneath the roof. You lose skin quicker, you dehydrate quicker. The friction is different to the day of the competition, so that's a lot. You also get tired much quicker. But in general, how can setters get the levels wrong? They get more and more exhausted with every day they work in the week. So like guessing the level right is really difficult. Right now with the women's qualification, when we started we were like, okay, this boulder is way harder than this one. Now everything feels the same again. So it's just like messing with your head. It's never meant on purpose to do something wrong. So they try a lot. They tweak all the time. They guess. Yeah, they sit down right now, like just over there with a notebook and try to categorize. Like, okay, this boulder is so hard. This boulder is harder than this one compared to the semi-final, compared to the finals, and they also try to guess like how many tops of each round. They try to compose and compile like the groups a little bit different together, and it's just like sometimes you're stuck too much in a thought process, and you don't have any relation with how hard it really is. So it's really, really difficult. I think one setter going to all of the events would help, or maybe like 1 or 2 setters. But so far of this setting team, also like no one set for any of the other World Cups. So because a lot of setters have an international IFSC license, and everyone needs to get their World Cups to have a good mix. But on the other hand, if you always mix up the crews, difficult. Not trying to find any excuses, but it's a really, really difficult job. B. Love Nielsen. How much time is spent on each boulder? Setting, way less than tweaking. Sometimes the drafts or the boulders are up in between 10 to 20 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour to put the boulder onto the wall. Depends on the material they use. A lot of times they use a lot of volumes and fiberglass. Testing can go for hours and hours. Sometimes like testing is done in 30 minutes by 2 to 3 setters. Then you test the rest of the round. Then you need to reconsider, okay, how difficult is this problem in reality? Go back. So it's really hard to put it into words. I'd say roughly minimum an hour for most of the boulders. More for the finals, of course. More for the finals and semi-finals, of course. Of course? It's just difficult to say. So I cannot put a number on it. Sorry. Jake R. Mason. First, I love you, and your question is, when can I set a World Cup? First, you have to become the chief or one of the most best setters in your country, and then your country shouldn't have too many IFSC setters, so it can apply for a new IFSC setter. So this will take a long time, my friend. I will talk about the IFSC application process and how you can become an IFSC setter probably another time. Flowspace Sets, aka Hillman from Singapore, also a really good setter. What do you need to know as a setter for the World Cups? You need to know the rules. If you don't have a license, you need to know an IFSC setter who maybe takes you on board to set at an IFSC World Cup, or you need to know the host country so you can set there. But the rules is everything what you need to know, and how to set boulders. Now, a really important question by Jule Worm. How do you choose your hair color? I have a really good hairdresser, and I'm going to a wedding of my best friend in a week. And this one is called Mauve. It's a mix between lavender purple, white, blonde, and something apricot. So it should look like a little bit like I'm homeless. But in general, my hairdresser, she can do whatever she wants. Jule Worm, procrastinating for sure. Why do you always look like a rock star? Now Jule Worm with the important question. Why do so few women set at Boulder World Cups? I don't know for sure, but it's like really but they don't have enough women with an IFSC license, which comes down with not enough women having national licenses, which comes down to not having enough women in the Routesetting world, like anywhere in the world. Not enough support to get into it, not enough support of the federations to support them, to push them, to get them onto the national, international level. And it's not only about the climbing ability. It's about experience, it's about like communication, it's about teamwork. It's not about that you climb so hard. I think the answer is the system is fucked up so far. The system is not working, and we, the IFSC, needs to change it. to get more women to set at Boulder World Cups. In Salt Lake, on the other hand, the first competition at Salt Lake, there were 2 women, Emma and Mui. Oh God. I learned her name, but I was drunk. I'm so sorry. Mo. I think it was Mo. Anyway, there were 2 women setting for the first Bouldering World Cup in Salt Lake. The second one, Olga was setting. But it's not enough. I know that. And I hope the rest of the IFSC knows it as well. Or the IFSC in general. I'm not the IFSC. Tom Franke asked best World Cup bowler of all time. In my opinion, maybe the push, toe catch in my ring overhead. I don't know. Maybe this year's M4? But maybe because I'm emotionally involved now, because I love the M4 and I love the setters? I don't know. Raphael Seher, how does the licensing for setters work? Yeah, I will do this in another episode. An active athlete asked, why is the setter's ego, why is their ego so big? I don't know. What do the older 40 plus setters contribute with? How is age perceived among the setters? So the older setters, most of the times, they help the younger, more inexperienced setters to stay calm, relaxed, to make better tries, better tweaks. They have good replacement holes and good suggestions always on hand. Maybe not physically the strongest, but they are like just like masterminds, keeping, or like glue, keeping the group together. Team vibe. They know when a rest, when a coffee break is supposed to happen. So it's really good for the team vibe, and the experience pays off. So so far we like them, and they're most of the time super fun. Have good stories about other old World Cups, and they always share their experiences. Okay, all the questions, and I think I need to leave this place now because the taping starts. Nikki out, and hope to see you soon somewhere around the world. Bye.